It's finally here, folks. That's right. The highly anticipated horror movie Weapons has finally come to theaters, and it's managed to get rave reviews from audiences and critics alike. How? Well, by proving that kids are really creepy. So, is the movie really worth all the praise? Let's find out as we take a spoiler-free look at Weapons. So, Weapons takes place in Maybrook, Pennsylvania, a small town where the people are friendly, the streets are clean, and where 17 children ran away from home, never to be seen again. And after a month of searching and investigation, the only thing police were able to conclude was that the kids were really big fans of Naruto. Now, you and I might think that a world without kids whining, crying, or asking stupid questions would be heaven on earth. But for some reason, the people of this town actually want their kids back. So, after the police come up with no answers, they decide to take out their frustrations on a teacher named Justine, because all the missing kids happen to be her students, and they think that she's hiding the truth about what happened.
Why just her classroom? Why only her?
Upset with being accused of such a terrible crime without any evidence, and the fact that she's being fired from her job, Justine decides to do some investigation of her own, trying to find clues that the police may have overlooked. And with some help from one of the kids' parents, it becomes clear that this is not just a case of kids running away from home, but in fact is the work of something evil that has moved into their small town. Now, I'm just going to be completely honest with you and say that I'm not really a big fan of horror movies. Sure, in the past, I've had fun watching old slasher movies with my friends, but outside those social settings, I don't really gravitate toward the genre. However, the few horror movies that I do like are the ones that rely on atmosphere, tension, and suspense rather than jump scares and gore. From the very first frame, Weapons cranks up the tension to 11. And while this was certainly nerve-wracking, it made the movie a lot of fun to watch. This uneasiness is the result of two very smart directorial choices. The first of which is that the camera work is very subtle, with no jump cuts or rapid close-ups. Instead, director Zach Cregger uses wide shots that linger for long stretches of time, as well as very deliberate and subtle camera movement, like a slow push into a dark hallway or a gentle pan to the side, causing the audience to scan every corner of the frame, bracing for whatever terrible thing is about to happen next. Secondly, there's very little music in this movie. In most modern horror movies, the audience is bombarded with constant eerie tones and sudden loud noises in order to get a cheap scare. Weapons, on the other hand, let scenes breathe in total silence, allowing the ambient noise from a house or outside to aid in building the tension of the scene. It's a choice that was very effective, and on a personal note, it reminded me of spending the night at my grandparents' house as a kid. You see, they lived in the country, and at night their house was very dark and quiet, which is why I now sleep like this. As for the performances, everyone does a great job, but Julia Garner and Josh Brolin are definitely the standouts. If you've seen her work in Ozark, then you know that Julia Garner is able to do big emotional swings very well.
If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to fucking kill me!
And that's a talent that she brings to this movie to great effect. And Josh Brolin gives what I think might be one of his best performances, as a father desperate to find his missing son. With all that said, I'd like to make it very clear that Weapons won't be for everybody, and the ending in particular will certainly divide audiences. If you've seen Barbarian, Zach Cregger's previous movie, then you know that he likes to take his stories into strange and unexpected places. However, unlike Barbarian, I think the ending in Weapons works as a very effective and cathartic release to all the tension that was built up throughout the first two-thirds of the movie, and despite coming out of left field, the ending left me feeling very satisfied. Also, it should be noted that this is a very slow burn type of horror movie. It takes its time setting up the characters, establishing their relationships with one another, and it's methodical with how the events of the plot play out. So, if you're more drawn to the faster-paced slashers, in-your-face hauntings, or torture porn gore fests, then you probably won't like this movie as much as I did. Finally, the story structure of this movie is very unconventional for the genre. For the sake of spoilers, I won't say how, but just in case you're curious, here's a small clue as to what I mean. So, at the end of the day, would I recommend this movie? Absolutely. Even with its flaws and divisive choices, I walked out really enjoying it. And honestly, it feels really nice to finally recommend a new movie. This year has kind of been a dud at the box office, and I'm happy to say that Weapons really worked for me. I was hooked from the start, and I think you will be too.